Hello, everybody. This is Gynarchist Awakening. As I promised, I didn't make any videos on Christmas or Christmas Eve. But since it is 12 o'clock, a little after 12, it is officially December 26th. And I wanted to make a video on the subject of egalitarianism. The reason, or rather, the impetus for this video came from the last one. Obviously, I was upset. I still am. And there are people that are in those groups who are clearly egalitarian. And one thing that really kind of irritates me about egalitarians is they have almost this weird mentality that their ideology is bulletproof or it's what everybody should pursue regardless of the circumstances. Uh, yeah, I just have several problems with egalitarianism in the current day and age and what humanity is undergoing. Uh, so the title of the video is "What Problems Could a Gynarchist Have with Egalitarian Ideology?" And it is an ideology. Every single position you have, whether it's a supremacy position, a non-supremacy position, an apathetic position, every position has an ideology behind it. Sometimes it's sophisticated, other times it's not. Egalitarianism is a sophisticated ideology, but the problems that I have, hopefully, will inform people as to why I picked the path that I did. You see, for some individuals, when they are hearing the word Gynarchy for the first time, they're thinking, oh, that's silly. You're never going to get the majority of people to get on board with it. That's never been my intention. From the very beginning, I only wanted community. I've said this over and over again. People are either ignoring it when they're criticizing it or they're acting like I never said it. I did. But also, the simple reality of the situation is I don't have time to indulge the egalitarian equality project when in the next few decades everything's going to fall apart. Society is going to fall apart. Governments are going to collapse. So I have enough time for one of two things. I can either find people, connect to my community, and help to grow my community, to prepare them for community life and village life and help them transition to that. I can do those things. Or I can try to work on your failed egalitarian project. And I'd rather do the former than the latter. I want to go into the specific issues that I have with this ideology. And this is in part because of the attitudes of the people from the femdom community. Some of their comments did inspire this video. And if you are from that community and you're watching this video, I want you to pay close attention because what I have to say is for you specifically. You egalitarian people in the femdom community. So, shouldn't the default belief system people accept, should that be egalitarianism? Let's talk about that. And this is just going to be reading. There's going to be several videos, so I'm gonna go into this. Egalitarians, I'm going to be reading. So this is a lot. This is like 20, 30 pages. I didn't include every reason for why I have problems with this. I just included the major ones that deter me from really caring about it or taking it seriously, as these people apparently want me to do. So, egalitarians are responsible for maintaining their societies. Yet, did they conveniently forget that they are the ones who allow it to fall to despotism over and over and over again? And I guess that we're supposed to feel nothing about this. The people who don't want to go along with their program, who feel that maybe something else is in order. Not necessarily a king or a queen, but a different kind of hierarchical system. Because every system falls to despotism, ultimately. So, and what did these people do? We saw a news organization, and I say news as in like news, quote unquote, come into prominence, which then cast doubt on climate science, spread fear and hysteria, and has played a role in undermining democracy in the United States. Do these egalitarians take a passive or active role in dealing with this threat? Did they achieve any success at stopping them? No. These egalitarians have harshly judged Gynarchists in the past, despite our consensual and peaceful approach. Yet, egalitarians are not above being criticized for their passivity, weakness, and ineffectual attempts to hold on to their societies. Despite all the education and mistakes of the past, we Gynarchists can see them failing once again. They bring litigation to a fistfight, make self-righteous videos about how their country is falling to authoritarianism, and yet what do they do when these methods fail them? They get animated and angry with Gynarchists, yet no matter how much their opposition takes from them, they let these people walk all over them without ever mustering any serious resistance. Do these egalitarians really care about their societies if they aren't willing to do what it takes to defend their rights? No matter how many times it plays out, the results are similar. As a Gynarchist, I have no hope that egalitarians will ever defend or realize their dreams. The reason is because they share power with people who have no desire to do the same. The consequence of sharing power with a dangerous enemy is that sooner or later, that person or group will gain the upper hand and eliminate you or marginalize you. The climate crisis, and this is the second one, by the way, this is the second problem I have. The climate crisis can't be resolved by an egalitarian society. The crisis requires a consistent response, and democracy, a system that emerged to resolve conflict, was not designed to guarantee a consistent answer to any given problem indefinitely. Why might this be an issue? Well, suppose Administration A listens to scientists and ceases all oil production and not all oil production, but all burning of fossil fuels. Let's say the administration ceases all burning of fossil fuels. I don't know how you'd accomplish this, but let's say they somehow accomplish it and transition society to an economy that uses an alternative energy source. So this is your first administration. And then your second administration denies the existence of global heating and insists that the burning of fossil fuels continues. In other words, we need to keep doing that, and the CO2 can, let's just let it continue to gather. Let's just keep pumping it up there. Well, if during the first administration, nothing is dumped up in the air, and in the next, record amounts of CO2 are emitted, then the egalitarian system can't solve the issue, can it? Can we ever expect voters to always vote for Administration A? No, we can't. Pauses aren't enough to prevent the collapse of civilization. A vote for Administration A is a vote to delay the inevitable. The sad truth is that Administration A doesn't even exist in the real world. The Democrats and Republicans to this day have continued emitting CO2 into the fucking atmosphere, despite every serious scientist saying we need to cease all burning of all fossil fuels. We need to stop putting any more CO2 up there. Are they listening? No. What was Kamala Harris's response? She said, no, we're going to just keep drilling. We're just going to keep drilling and doing it. So you have a worse situation than the one I'm even describing. You have the faster poison, the poisons that's going to kill you quicker, and then you have the slower poison. This is what you're voting for. This is what your egalitarian society has brought you. You get to pick which poison kills you. You don't even get to decide not to have the poison. That's the thing. No matter what decision you make, you're deciding to slowly kill yourselves. To slowly commit suicide collectively as a group. Only one group wants to do it faster than the other group. So it's like you're quite literally picking the speed at which you're annihilating yourselves. This is a hypothetical example to illustrate the point that you would have to have a consistent response, because once that CO2 is up there, ask any scientist, does that shit just come down? No, that's the thing. If Group A does it and says, okay, we're going to stop burning them all, and then Group B just goes back to business as usual, and then you keep oscillating between these, well, it really doesn't matter what Group A does, because what the damage that Group B is doing is not going to be undone by all the good that Group A is doing. Get it? That's the problem. It's the existence of Group B that's the issue. It's the fact that they will get into power, they will continue to engage in those practices, and Group A can't undo the damage that they cause. That's the real issue. They can't turn back the clock on that. They can't reverse those actions. They can stop the burning of them, but they can't stop all the CO2 that's been emitted after that point. So there you go. And I want to find where I'm in my place again. Yeah. Now, one could argue whether a Gynarchist society could do any better, and while that's for another day, the fact that egalitarianism won't stop, that the fact is egalitarianism will not stop our extinction as a species, or at least mass death and destruction. Like, this isn't like some kind of end-all be-all cure to society's ills. Egalitarianism doesn't fix this particular problem. So why should I respect an ideology that's ineffective at resolving one of the greatest threats to the human race? What business do you have being so angry at Gynarchists when your own ideology is not only flawed, but offers no tangible solutions to the coming ecological nightmare? You people love getting on your high horse and judging the rest of us, just because we want women running communities or businesses or whatever. So you judge us for this, but you're participating in a system that is causing the collective suicide of billions of people. You're doing that. Doesn't matter whether you vote for a Democrat or Republican, you're part of that. You're complicit in mass genocide. But yeah, your ideology is going to magically solve the problem, right? Oh, wait a minute. Are you going to blame this on another minority group? Oh, it's something about the rich, right? Okay. Well, are you going to do anything about it? Oh, I didn't think so. You're just going to continue to do what you always do. Play the victim, complain, whatever. Never take any action. This is why no one has any respect for the egalitarian ideology or position who's actually critically thought about it for any length of time. There's a reason why people in the past philosophers talked about it negatively. Because we're seeing now that this particular ideology doesn't work. And really, you could argue that it's a flaw with human beings, not just the ideology, because when have human beings ever eked out any consistent system? The truth is that they haven't. But that's also, again, that's still a problem with egalitarianism, because if it can't solve and stop an existential crisis, how effective of an ideology is it? Why should I participate in an ideology like this and ignore my own people? Why should I care about your stuff and ignore my stuff? How is your philosophy inherently superior to mine when you're doing all this shit? When your philosophy, your ideology enables this. So I always get the impression from egalitarians that they believe their beliefs are correct and that mine are wrong. The problem with egalitarian ideology is that it's poorly equipped to handle certain circumstances like global warming. It isn't about failing completely. Just that all it takes for the death of billions is to not succeed every time in electing those who are attempting to save humanity from global heating. I'm going to see you in part 2.